The season ended with a single throw that never had a chance, a wild card night in Houston that felt heavier than a loss should have felt, because it didn't just close a game, it cracked open the future of an entire franchise. Aaron Rodgers walked off that field knowing his one-year contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers was officially over, and for the first time in his career, the next chapter wasn't just uncertain, it was completely unwritten. The value of this story isn't just about whether Rodgers comes back or walks away, it's about how Pittsburgh is quietly reshaping itself behind the scenes, and why one coaching hire in particular might be the loudest message they've sent yet. Because while fans were still processing the playoff exit to the Houston Texans, the Steelers' front office was already moving, already pivoting, already making decisions that would have felt impossible just months ago. Mike Tomlin, the face of Steelers' stability for nearly 2 decades, stepped down after 19 seasons as head coach. Let that sink in. 19 years. One of the longest, most consistent tenures in modern NFL history, suddenly over. And just like that, Pittsburgh hired Mike McCarthy as his replacement, a move that instantly raised eyebrows across the league and reignited old connections that many thought were permanently in the past. This isn't just a coaching change. This is a philosophical shift. And when you layer in the next move, the picture becomes even clearer. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Steelers are bringing in James Campen as their new offensive line coach. To the casual fan, that might sound like a routine hire, the kind of transaction that barely registers on the news cycle. But to anyone who understands Aaron Rodgers, to anyone who's followed his career closely, that name carries weight, memory, and emotional gravity. James Campen isn't just another assistant. He's history. He's trust. He's comfort. He's one of the few coaches Rodgers has ever spoken about with genuine warmth, not calculated praise. And when Schefter resurfaced an old post from Rodgers back in 2021, everything clicked into place. The photo showed Rodgers embracing Campen, not like a player hugging a coach, but like family. The caption said it all, calling Campen a mentor, a confidant, a father figure, a supporter, and a friend to so many players over more than 3 decades. Rodgers didn't talk about schemes or techniques. He talked about character. He talked about being a better person, not just a better player. That post alone went viral again, racking up over 850,000 views on X, and suddenly the conversation shifted. This wasn't about an offensive line hire anymore. This was about intent. This was about signaling. This was about whether the Steelers were quietly laying the groundwork to bring Aaron Rodgers back, not by throwing money at him, but by rebuilding the environment he once thrived in. To understand why this matters so much, you have to rewind. James Campen played for the Green Bay Packers from 1989 to 1993, back when the league was a different animal entirely. After retiring, he joined the Packers coaching staff in 2004, just 1 year before the team drafted Aaron Rodgers in 2005. By 2007, Campen had been promoted to offensive line coach, a role he would hold for over a decade. Those were the years Rodgers grew from a patient understudy into a Hall of Fame quarterback. Those were the years when protection meant everything, when trust in the pocket allowed creativity to flourish. Rodgers spent years behind lines coached by Campen, and more importantly, years building a relationship rooted in honesty and accountability. Campen wasn't just teaching footwork and leverage. He was setting standards. He was creating continuity. And when he left Green Bay in 2018 to join the Cleveland Browns, it marked the end of an era that Rodgers has never quite stopped referencing. Fast forward to now, and the Steelers are at a crossroads. Aaron Rodgers' 1-year deal is complete. There's no obligation on either side. He could retire. He could test free agency again. He could walk away from Pittsburgh altogether. And yet, instead of waiting passively, the Steelers are actively reshaping their coaching staff in a way that feels intentional, almost strategic, like chess pieces being moved several turns in advance. Mike McCarthy's hiring alone is a statement. This is a coach who knows Rodgers better than almost anyone in football. Their relationship in Green Bay was complicated, at times strained, but undeniably successful. Multiple MVP seasons, a Super Bowl ring, years of offensive dominance. Bringing McCarthy into Pittsburgh isn't just about replacing Tomlin. It's about installing an offensive mind who understands how to build around a veteran quarterback, how to manage strong personalities, and how to structure a system that doesn't rely on youth or mobility, but on experience and precision. Now add James Campen to that mix, and the picture sharpens. Offensive line coaches don't usually make headlines, but quarterbacks notice them. Veteran quarterbacks especially. Because at this stage of Rodgers' career, it's not about learning a new playbook or proving anything to anyone. It's about trust. It's about protection. It's about knowing the people around you have your back, literally and figuratively. This is where the curiosity gap widens. Are the Steelers trying to lure Rodgers back with familiarity? Are they building a version of Pittsburgh that feels like a spiritual echo of Green Bay, minus the cold weather drama and front office tension? Or is this all coincidence, a series of logical hires that just happen to align with Rodgers' past? Inside league circles, there's already chatter. Quiet conversations. Speculation that Pittsburgh isn't done yet. That these moves aren't isolated. That the Steelers understand something crucial about Aaron Rodgers that other teams have missed. He doesn't just choose situations based on talent. He chooses them based on relationships, based on respect, based on whether he feels heard. Remember, this is a quarterback who has never been shy about voicing dissatisfaction when trust breaks down. But he's also fiercely loyal when it doesn't. The way he spoke about James Campen in that 2021 post wasn't performative. It wasn't for fans. It was genuine. And the fact that the Steelers are now bringing that same coach into their building while Rodgers' future hangs in the balance is impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Steelers fans are split. Some see this as a bold attempt to squeeze one more run out of a legendary quarterback. Others worry about tying the franchise's future to a player at the tail end of his career. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. Pittsburgh isn't just betting on Rodgers. They're betting on infrastructure, on culture, on leadership. Mike Tomlin stepping down created a vacuum, but also an opportunity. The Steelers could have gone young. They could have chased the next hot coordinator. Instead, they went experienced. They went familiar. They went with a coach who has managed Hall of Fame talent and understands the pressure cooker of expectations. That alone tells you this franchise isn't looking for a rebuild. They're looking for relevance now. And if Aaron Rodgers is watching, if he's weighing his options quietly, these moves speak louder than any phone call. They say, we're serious. We're committed. We're willing to build an environment that works for you, not just one that looks good on paper. There's also the reality of the AFC. The conference is brutal. Young quarterbacks everywhere. Windows close fast. The Steelers know this. They know that standing still is the same as moving backward. By bringing in McCarthy and Campen, they're stacking experience against chaos. They're choosing stability in a league obsessed with the next big thing. The wild card loss to Houston stung, but it also clarified things. It showed where the roster stands. It showed what's missing. And it showed that the margin for error is razor thin. Aaron Rodgers saw that too. He felt it in every hit, every rushed throw, every moment the pocket collapsed. Offensive line play isn't a luxury for him anymore. It's a necessity. James Campen's arrival directly addresses that. Not just schematically, but psychologically. For a quarterback who thrives on control and rhythm, knowing the person coaching the line understands his tendencies, his timing, his expectations, matters more than any contract incentive. This is the part of the story that doesn't show up in stat sheets. It's the human side of football. The relationships that keep players playing. The trust that keeps veterans from walking away. The subtle moves that reveal a franchise's true intentions. And here's the big reveal that everyone's dancing around. Even if Aaron Rodgers never takes another snap for the Steelers, these moves redefine Pittsburgh's identity. They signal a willingness to adapt, to evolve, to break from tradition when necessary. Mike Tomlin's era was defined by consistency. Mike McCarthy's could be defined by calculated risk. But if Rodgers does come back, if he looks at this coaching staff and sees echoes of his best years, the Steelers instantly become one of the most fascinating teams in the league. Not because they're guaranteed champions, but because they become unpredictable, dangerous, capable of catching lightning in a bottle. So now the question isn't just what Aaron Rodgers will do. It's what you think this all means. Is Pittsburgh setting the stage for one last run with a future Hall of Famer? Or are they simply building the best version of themselves, with or without him? Was hiring James Campen a brilliant chess move or just a nostalgic gamble? Drop your take in the comments. If you were in Rodgers' shoes, does this coaching staff make you want to run it back one more time, or is the chapter already closed? And there's another layer to this story that hasn't gotten nearly enough attention yet, because it sits beneath the headlines and beyond the surface-level speculation. It's about timing. Aaron Rodgers has always been deliberate with his decisions, almost methodical to a fault. He doesn't rush announcements. He doesn't react emotionally in public. When he goes quiet, it's usually because he's thinking several moves ahead, weighing not just football factors but life factors. And right now, the clock is working in Pittsburgh's favor. The Steelers aren't pressuring him publicly. They aren't leaking ultimatums. Instead, they're quietly constructing a coaching ecosystem that feels familiar, stable, and respectful of legacy. For a quarterback who has spent the last few years navigating front office tension, media noise, and constant questions about decline, that matters. A lot. This version of Pittsburgh isn't screaming for attention. It's whispering confidence. Inside the locker room, players are watching closely too. Veterans understand what these hires mean. Younger players see it as a sign that the organization is serious about competing now, not just developing for later. Offensive linemen know James Campen's reputation. They know what he demands, and they know what he brings out of players. Accountability, pride, consistency. Those traits travel, regardless of scheme or city. And then there's Mike McCarthy, stepping into a role that comes with enormous expectations. Replacing Mike Tomlin isn't just about wins and losses. It's about leadership style, communication, and command of the room. McCarthy's familiarity with Rodgers could be his greatest asset or his biggest challenge, depending on how this unfolds. But one thing is undeniable. There is no learning curve between them. No getting-to-know-you phase. If Rodgers stays, they can hit the ground running from day one. This is where the Steelers' patience becomes their biggest weapon. Every day that passes without Rodgers making a decision allows these moves to sink in, allows the idea to breathe, allows the possibility of a reunion to feel less like nostalgia and more like strategy. And while other teams may be pitching promises and projections, Pittsburgh is offering something simpler. Continuity. Trust. A chance to finish on your own terms. Because make no mistake, this isn't just about winning games. It's about legacy. Aaron Rodgers' career will be debated forever, but how it ends still matters. Whether the final chapter feels forced or intentional. Whether it's marked by chaos or clarity. The Steelers are presenting a path that feels controlled, respectful, and purposeful. So as the league waits, as fans speculate, and as insiders trade theories, remember this. Big decisions in the NFL aren't always announced with fireworks. Sometimes they're revealed through quiet hires, familiar faces, and subtle signals. And right now, all signs point to Pittsburgh doing everything it can to make one last run feel not just possible, but right. Now it's over to you. If you're Aaron Rodgers, do these moves change your mind? Does familiarity outweigh the risk, or is it time to walk away for good? Let us know what you think, because this story is far from finished, and the next move could reshape the entire AFC.